Why? Who gives a fuck what they think?
What you're describing you meant is not what you said. You are denying that.
Fuck you. You will hear my opinion. Fuck you. You think you're correct every time, you piece of shit.
I'm gonna go jump off a bridge right now. Hello and welcome to the Powerfish Podcast. I'm Ben.
And I'm Fish. Ben, ask me what I don't like. Please and thank you. What I don't like is landlords. I'll tell you why.
Why?
I'll tell you why. So
mine's sexist.
Okay, I want to unpack that first. That's more interesting than what I was going to say. What? Tell us why.
I don't actually know that. I just said that for dramatic effect because I'm guessing that because when me and my roommate moved in, she mostly did all the talking, and seems like a nice dude, normal dude guy. And I didn't really talk to him all that much, but every interaction that my roommate has had with him has been pretty, overwhelmingly positive, which is great. But when I wanted to get our internet installed, the Adams Fiber guy called him to arrange some. I swear I've told you this story before. The Adams Fiber guy called the landlord and just to ask him where is it okay to potentially drill a hole or whatever. And holy crap, he was the most rude person I've heard ever. He was so rude to the fiber guy. The Adams guy would ask him something and he would just respond so condescendingly and rude. The landlord, one of the things he said he didn't want anything holes drilled. He didn't want any modifications to the house whatsoever. He originally said that he wanted our Wi-Fi in the router in the basement.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have it there.
The Wi-Fi router in the basement. That's not how you do Wi-Fi.
It's gonna be too far
away. That makes no sense.
It's gonna be under the floor. That's not.
We're gonna be on top of the signal. So obviously the fiber guy knows that, and he's like, "That's stupid and you're dumb." He didn't actually say that, but we both thought it. So we tried to negotiate a way to get it to the top, and he said, "Well, I don't want any holes drilled." And eventually we got him to agree to the top, but he said he wanted it only in a enclosed closet room that is in our kitchen. Also a stupid place for Wi-Fi, having it immediately surrounded by four walls.
Right.
In a location that no one's going to be using the Wi-Fi in the kitchen. So that was stupid too. Eventually we find there was an old landline cable that was coming through the basement that was routed into the living room, and we just asked hey, can we just use that? Pull out the landline cable and just replace it with fiber? And he's like, "Freaking fine. Sure." Dude, he was such a piece of shit to this guy. But every interaction since then, specifically with not a male, has been great. So, I don't know. Maybe that's a guess. He's sexist.
Yeah, what an asshole. That's really stupid. I think you have told me that, but I found it interesting that it's such a shift in behavior just because of at least that's what we're assuming.
I mean, some people are like that. Some people racists. Some people are just like that. Some people are just inherently pieces of shit.
Well, that leads me right into my topic of discussion here. So I'll tell you this. On Monday, this last Monday, today is Thursday for anybody wanting context. On Monday, I got a call from the new landlord for the new place we're going to be going. And he basically is, this is a guy I haven't talked to before. It's like a duo that does it, and I've only gone through the one guy. This is the other guy. And he calls and he says, "Hey, this is who I am. I'm with this guy. You've been talking to this other guy. So I want to talk a little bit about the unit and all that." I was like, "All right, I bet that's fine. I can talk for a minute." And I bet that. And he basically tells me, we're not even moving in for another like month and a half. And he's basically like, I want the deposit now, like stat.
Why?
It just because they don't want, because they won't hold the unit for me, is what they said. I was like, oh, okay. He was like, yeah. He was
unless you pay the deposit.
Unless I pay the deposit, I haven't signed anything. Right.
Okay.
So I was like, all right. So he's like, yeah, we want to give you we want you to give us the deposit, like pronto, like right now, like yeah. I was like, yeah, I could, I'm kind of busy. I could have it to you by the end of the week. He was like, no, it's gonna have to be in the next couple of days. It's gonna have to be like, I don't know, dude. And then so we get to talking, and for context, I have two cats. My partner and I have two cats. When I talked to the original guy, he had said, "Oh yeah, that's totally fine. You can have two cats." And I'm even gonna look into, just because we want good tenants and I had a good referral. He was like, "I'm gonna look into waiving that pet fee for you." And I was like, "Shoot, yeah, dude, that's awesome. That'd be awesome if we could waive that pet fee." This other guy calls the same conversation later. So then he says, "Yeah, so it's gonna be a $50 pet fee." And I said, "Well, now that other guy said, I don't know if that's still on the table. This was, a month or two prior to that." So I don't know if that's still on the table, but that other guy said they were looking to waive in the pet fee. And he was like, "Yeah, but you have two animals." And I said, "Yeah, I was pretty upfront about that. I have two cats." He was like, "Yeah, you're only allowed to have one." I was like, okay, well, I'm not just going to kill the other cat. Like, what, what do you, and he's just like, "Well, okay, so you can have both of them, but we're going to charge you the pet fee for the one." And I was like, "Well, the other one is a service animal, so you can't charge for that one anyway. So basically, we're just paying exactly what we would have paid anyways."
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll freaking let it go. And then, so they have in-unit laundry hookups, right? And they said, and a lot of places will have like washer dryers in there just already. I don't know if your place was like that.
No.
But
hookups, but there was no appliances when we moved here except the fridge.
Maybe that's not as much of a case, but I've definitely heard of places having like in unit appliances already in place. And he goes, "Okay, so
ours also isn't an apartment."
Well, this place is like a condo or like a duplex kind of a situation.
Oh,
is this what this new place is? So anyway, any hoozle. So he's just like, yeah. So the pet fee is going to be $50 a month for the one fucking cat. One piece of shit cat. I don't even like him. and he says, okay, so, and then you have hookups, but you'll have to either get your own appliances or rent from us. And I was like, all right, how much is it to rent appliances from you? Just a washer and dryer. Just washer and dryer.
That's probably expensive as hell.
$50 also a month. $50
for each?
Well, just for the total.
$50 for a washer and dryer
a month, which I complained about that to some people, and they were like, "Well, that's not actually that bad."
I was just gonna think. That's not as much as I thought it was gonna be.
But now listen here. That's on top of the already other $50 I got to pay for this pet fee. So it's just regardless of if it's expensive or not for the item, it's getting expensive regardless. Okay. And then he says this, and he says on the phone, he gets real close to me. I felt his presence get closer to me. And he says this to me. He says, "Now, you're going to pay that $50 a month. And if the cats do any kind of damage, you're going to pay for the damage." Which made me think, why am I paying a pet fee? What is, you know what I'm saying? Is that just me? Is that just me? What's the purpose of a pet fee if I have to pay for any and all damage that is accrued anyway? Right? Is it just because they like money?
Scent. Sometimes dogs leave behind a not great scent in like carpet.
Right. Maybe. I don't know. But
I
then,
have no idea.
but I'm not done. Right. So then I go in today to actually like get the paperwork and everything. And he says this to me. So I was like, okay. So I'm gonna have to pay for any damages and pay $50 a month for some reason. I'll do both. And then he says, listen to me. You're here. He gets real close again. He says, whenever you leave this place, you're gonna pay a $300 carpet cleaning regardless. Does not matter the
What?
condition of the carpet. Yep. He says you're
Well,
gonna
then
pay.
I have no idea what the pet fee is
And
for.
then he said, no, I'm not done with you right now. And then he said, but since you have a cat, 2 cats, since you have cats, you're going to pay $400 for a carpet cleaning.
What?
So I'm paying $50 a month for pets. Then I'm paying any damages as they occur. And then I'm paying an addition. I'm paying a fee to clean the carpets, no matter their condition, and an additional fee, $100 fee on top of that for just the carpets having had pets on them.
Did you guys not figure out all the fees up front when you were like learning about this place, trying to gather info?
Well, this
here?
has been so disjointed. There was hardly any communication. Because I would be like, hey, I want to do this, and then yeah, I mean, don't you remember? I told you about the guy that I was going through, and I would like try to get a hold of him, and he would just ghost me for a week. I know I told you about this. You might have forgotten, but yeah, I mean, the other guy, super nice guy. This guy was this is the other thing I had a problem with about this guy. Like the whole time I was talking to him, when I went to his office and talked to him in person, I was like going over the lease, and I'm just like, why this? Why? And he's just like. He would like kind of explain it, and then he would very condescendingly say, "Do you understand? Do you understand?"
I hate that.
Oh, and I think it was just the way he talked. But I was like, I'm understanding the kind of person you are. That's what I'm understanding right now. But this place came highly recommended to me by a person whose opinion I actually do value. So I'm hoping once we're in there, it's like, yeah, there's all these fees. I'll give them credit. They're being upfront about the fees. It's a little late for this fees to be coming out now,
Well,
but it's not after the fact.
Late or not, I don't know whose fault it is really about the lack of communication here, but it seems there wasn't enough exchange early enough.
Well,
Whether between either party.
right. Well, it was attempted communication from me and not received communication from them is what it was. And most of that, I'll say this, and most of that attempted communication was just like, hey, I want to get in the unit. I want to like look at the unit, and we can hash out all the details while we're there. But can I just see the place? And he's just like, he'd leave me, he'd ghost me for a week, and then be like, maybe. I'll be like, yeah.
So did you see it then?
Not yet. I know. We are seeing.
That's
that was
crazy.
The thing.
That's crazy.
I know. I told them, we want to see before we move in. Obviously, we want to see the unit, but they don't have a unit to show until they said like the middle of this month, roughly, more towards the.
So in a week?
A week or two out, maybe.
Huh.
So that's where we're at.
That's
Yeah, no, I've been trying to be on top of this as much as I can, but these people, they're just like. The problem is their units are always rented out, and they just don't have anything to show. And I guess they don't do that. Like a lot of landlords will just will get hold of one of their tenants and be like, "Hey, we're showing your unit or something," or like the unit that the people are moving out. Like our place that does that. They said we can contact you within 24 hours and show somebody your unit even though you're still living there.
Yeah, if you're leaving, then I would say that's totally fine.
Yeah, but
If you're the one that's leaving.
This place doesn't do that, I guess. They just they wait for people to vacate completely.
I feel like this is a lot late, especially for having never even stepped foot in this place so far.
I would be in agreement with you.
Sounds like one of your landlords is a piece of shit.
The other guy's really nice. This guy's kind of just weird. But like I said, I've been trying to I would say maybe a month and a half. I've been trying to track him down and just be like, hey, hey. And then, side story. And then, so I submitted the applications originally for rental, and they didn't get back to me for a couple weeks. And then the one guy calls me and he says, hey, we misplaced your applications.
Oh, yeah, you told me that.
Yeah. And then
you had to redo shit.
I had to redo
That's
them.
dumb.
And then they kept being like, yeah, we had a unit available sooner, so we passed over you, and we're really sorry about that. I was like, no, I always wanted to move in August. That was never the issue. I always want to move in August. But so that part's it's not great. It's not a good look, but it's fine because it doesn't actually affect my time scale at all. Mm-hmm. But I kept being like, I want to see the place. I want to get these things ironed out, and they're just like, nah, because I didn't even see a lease until.
This guy's,
yesterday.
I mean, nice. I guess if he's nice, that's great. But shit, you and I both know that being nice doesn't make incompetence any fucking better.
We are well aware of that. I think a lot of people are well aware of that.
Yeah, I don't care if somebody's nice if they're, well, I do. Like, I always do. But if they're incompetent, then that's still going to sour my opinion more than them being nice is going to help my opinion of them.
I'd rather somebody nice and incompetent than somebody rude and incompetent.
Yeah, I mean any time of the week, but I'd rather somebody be competent and neutral than incompetent and nice.
And that covers most of humanity, right? In those categories of people.
I would argue it. Oh, in those categories? All those categories, yeah. I thought you were going to say competent and neutral covers most of humanity. And I would say, no, it fucking doesn't. Most of humanity, I would argue, is incompetent.
Well, it depends on the task. Competent at what?
Most of the fields that we find people in.
So you're saying people are bad at their jobs. And I would say, yeah, it's probably true.
Yeah. Well, in the level of jobs that we've had experience with, which is not high level jobs,
right?
And I wouldn't really expect any different of high level jobs either, to be honest. Like, there's maybe it's better in high level jobs, like six figure plus jobs, where most people are more competent at their job, but specifically in the like 50 grand a year under club, 50 grand US.
That's a sucky.
No one cares about their jobs there.
Especially me. Which I just quit my job the other day. You know about this.
Yeah. I get this guy recruited to FedEx. He stays for a month and then goes back to his last job.
I would argue justifiably so.
Yeah, absolutely justifiably so.
Not to get into all that. Just shenanigans afoot, and I'll leave it at that. But I'm back at my other job now, and it came with a perk of the job. Not that the job gave it to me, but I stole it. I have an iPad now. You can't see this, Ben, but I already showed you.
Does it actually work?
So
have you done the thing?
I'm trying to do the thing. This leads into a great topic, which is how much I actually hate Apple and Apple products and Apple services.
Yeah, we opened with a topic of how much I hate Apple in our first episode ever.
So So for backstory, right? I'm back at my other job. It's sales and people. You know retail. You know retail. A lot of the
retail
times they have these little like kiosks places. Like you go and tap a button and whatever. I don't know. I've never even seen this kiosk because it's been deactivated for a couple of years. So my boss says to me, "Hey, here's this kiosk. We haven't even turned it on in years. Go throw it away. And there's an iPad in there, but just throw it out." And I was like, "Okay." He said to throw out the kiosk with an iPad. So I threw out a kiosk with no iPad.
Because you took the iPad.
Exactly.
And it looked like an old iPad. What was it?
Well, I mean, it's older, but it's not bad. It's an 8th gen.
Oh, okay.
That's 2020.
Yeah. That's fine. That's not old.
So the thing about it though is that it's disabled. It's like been locked up because of whatever reason. And it says connect to iTunes, right? It says, hey, connect to iTunes. So I'm like, all right, I don't use Apple products, but I can connect to iTunes. So I download iTunes on my PC, and I don't have an Apple ID anymore. I deleted that when I got rid of my iPhone. So then it says create one. So I hit create a new Apple ID on iTunes, and the entire program just freezes up because that's the most difficult task.
Okay, hold on. Real pause in your story. I was using iTunes like a couple weeks ago for some reason. Yes. Okay. So I remember why. Real quick. This is a quick story. So there's an app called Strong. It's a lifting tracking app, and I have an Android, and I bought a subscription on Android, but I forgot I also had a currently running subscription for the app on iOS because I had an iPhone like a year ago. And so the renewal email is sent to me, the renewal notice, like that it's going to renew soon. So I'm like, oh crap, I forgot that was even still going because I had a $30 a year thing going on. So like I had forgotten about it. But anyway, the renewal was coming up, and I couldn't cancel it from a web browser. I had to download iTunes, sign into my Apple ID, and unsubscribe from the subscription on iTunes on the computer. So what I was trying to do was I downloaded iTunes. First of all, that's stupid to begin with. Just let me unsubscribe from a web browser. Second of all, I downloaded iTunes, and in the renewal notice email, there is a link to manage your subscription. And if you click on it, it prompts to open iTunes.
Right.
So I click on the email link, and it goes to iTunes, freezes every time. I did this 3 times in a row, and iTunes freezes and stops responding every time.
God, it's so bad.
iTunes is not made for Windows. I'm sure it would have been fine if I had a Mac. So I had to just fumble through it to find out how to get to my subscriptions on the iTunes app without just using the easy link on the email because it's broken. Anyway, I get it, and then immediately uninstall iTunes after. But like, that's so stupid. That whole process is just stupid.
Well, I want to tell you about my stupidity because it takes your stupidity but amplifies it. So let me start from the beginning and let me go through the entire chain of process here. So I got this iPad and it says connect to iTunes. Okay, download iTunes, go in, and just like I said, I tried to recover my old one, it didn't work. Create new, freezes up. So I thought to myself, okay. And you can't create an Apple ID on the web. That's just, you can't do that. That is a non-option. You have to do it through an Apple program.
Cool.
So
when you're done with this story, we gotta tell the story of how the reason we still don't have this podcast on Apple Podcasts. Hold.
So I'm thinking to myself, okay, all right. I can get on Apple Music and try to, create a profile on Apple Music so then I can sign into iTunes because that's stupid. So I download Apple Music and I go in and I click the create an iTunes or an Apple ID. Sure enough, it works. Okay, so now I'm going in.
So wait, why? So why do you need an Apple ID again?
I need an Apple account so I can sign into iTunes, because iTunes won't do anything without an active sign in. So
it won't? Oh,
it did. It wouldn't let me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I clicked every button on there and it would not do anything. It couldn't see the tablet, nothing. But anyway, so I click the create Apple ID button or whatever it is. And it says, okay, what's your email? So I give it my email. And it says, no, you can't do that. I was like, oh, okay, I would really like to. And it said, no. I said, okay. So I go to Google because you can create
Why
a new. It didn't tell me. It said no. It just said no. It just you do it and then it would just no, can't do that.
But what did it actually say?
It did.
You keep saying no, but what did it say?
I'm telling you, it didn't say anything. There's no error code. It just doesn't continue.
Oh,
Yeah,
so it didn't just say no. It actually didn't do anything.
yeah. Which is in a
Okay.
way saying no because
That-
it doesn't do anything.
Well, I would say that is a helpful clarification that is important.
I would say you're a helpful clarification. Anyway, so I think to myself, okay, it doesn't like that email for whatever reason, but I know you can use Gmails to create Apple accounts. I know that.
That's what I have mine through.
So
my
I go on Google and I create a new Gmail account just for this Apple device. And I go back in, doesn't work. Doesn't work at all. Well, actually, back up a little bit. So the first one just wouldn't continue. It just said it said nothing. It just didn't continue. This one, I create the new Gmail account, go back to the Apple Music so I can sign it in, so I can sign into iTunes. And I go through, it asks me to create a password, security questions. It has me put my credit card on file, does all of that. And then I hit create the account because I have all the information in. Yeah, you have to have a credit card on file. You have to have a credit card on file.
I don't remember ever needing to do that.
You need it. It says we won't charge you, but you have to have it on file. That's what it says. So I hit create it, and then it sits there for a minute, and it pops up this thing, and it just says contact support or whatever, something like that, to the effect. There's no other button. It says except for OK. And then once you hit OK, the entire program closes.
What?
Yeah. And I did this a couple times I did it with I tried again with my actual email, which didn't work, which didn't do anything. I tried it with the email I created and it did what I just said. And then I tried it with.
Can't make an Apple ID from the web?
No, it doesn't let you. It says go to iTunes or go to fucking Apple Music is what it says.
I'm Googling this right now.
Oh, you'll be Googling while I
There's no
Googled.
way. On your Windows PC. Yeah, you do. You can create an Apple ID in the Apple TV app, Apple Music app, or iTunes for Windows.
Yeah.
There's no way to do it. They make you download shit?
Yeah, they make you download one of their programs. So I tried it with my email, which didn't work. Tried it with the one I created, which
Oh, yeah,
got
you
to the end.
can. Yeah,
Where?
you can.
Where?
Create your Apple ID on the web. Go to appleid.apple.com and create your Apple ID. Yes, you can.
Where do you see this?
AppleID.com. AppleID.apple.com. God. One account for everything Apple. Yeah. At top right, create your Apple ID. Yes, it's on the web. There's no way that they would make you do that.
I'm gonna do this right now.
Do it.
Just because.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. Well, we might as well say, while you're doing this shit, you might as well say why. So our podcast is not on Apple Podcasts they're just not there. And the reason is because me and Fish used to both have iPhones and Apple IDs to go along with them. And we wanted to just delete we don't have iPhones anymore and no Apple products that would need an Apple ID. So we wanted to just delete our Apple IDs and make a new one with a Powerfish account. But we can't do that and put one of our phone numbers in there because those phone numbers are linked to our respective Apple IDs that we used to have. Fisher deleted his
Yeah.
successfully. I couldn't delete mine. Because so I have to have an Apple product to delete my Apple ID. Or no. I think I could do it from the web. But it wouldn't let me delete my Apple ID from the web because I have a Apple wallet rewards balance. So if you use the credit card The Apple credit card, you get a rewards. It has rewards tiers like cashback that you can only get if you use it through Apple Pay, mind you. So now that I don't have an iPhone, that is a absolutely worthless card to me. But I digress. So I have a cashback balance. And the only way that I can get this balance off so I can delete my account is they have to cash it out and send it to me via check, or I sign into Apple Pay and spend it. So I can't just, which I don't have an Apple product anymore. And I can't have them send it to me via check without signing into Apple Wallet on an iPhone.
That's really stupid.
So I'm just kind of like fucked. I mean, my roommate has an iPhone, so theoretically I could just sign her out of her Apple ID and sign into mine so I can spend the however many cents are on my cashback balance so I can delete my freaking Apple ID. It's so annoying. It's so annoying.
Yeah, that's literally trash. Yeah, that's the yeah, the whole situation has been nothing but inconvenience.
Well, that's just what Apple is. It's the walled garden. It's once you're in it, and I wasn't even that in it. In fact, I was hardly in it at all. All I had was an iPhone, no other Apple product, and I am to this day still dealing with the bullshit of trying to get out of having an iPhone. It's a walled garden.
Like I told you the other day or whenever, last night, I genuinely think they just want to punish people for not using their products.
Yeah, it's exactly it. If you buy their products, they will punish you for not buying enough of their products. That is an objective fact. Because if you buy their AirPods but don't have an iPhone, you can't use a lot of the features on their AirPods. You can't even update the firmware on AirPods. Because why fuck you didn't buy enough of our Apple stuff. I hate it. It's so stupid.
One thing that really pissed me off was when I was trying to so I gave up on trying to use new emails because it wasn't taking it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to try again to recover that Apple ID, even though I know I deleted it. But maybe I could, I don't know, I'm just going to give it a shot. So I go in, and it's like, oh, yeah, we know exactly who you are. We know what you're talking about. I was like, great, I want it. And they said, okay, you're going to have to answer some questions. And I said, okay.
Recovery questions are totally normal.
Yeah. And I'm about to tell you about it. So then it says, like, what street did you grow up on? It's like, okay. And I told them, and they said, wrong. I said, I don't think so. What was the name of your first dog? Oh, I know this one. Told them, wrong. Okay. And then they said, oh, hey, you had an iPhone 13 at one point. What was the passcode on that phone? And I said, bet that. I know that. And I told them, and they said, that's not right. Yes, it was. I typed it in every single day for like a couple years. I know exactly what that passcode was. And they said, no, it's not. So I don't know about that.
Maybe it was the wrong Apple ID.
No, because it knew all the it like knew exactly what. Where am I going with this? It knew the previous 3 phones that I had. Like it knew which models I had for the last 3 phones.
Oh,
and the same Apple ID was signed into.
So your Apple ID hasn't been deleted.
It seems so. Or at least they have a record of it. It's like
to like recover it, maybe.
It's inaccessible, but it's got a record to it. I don't know. So I'm at a standstill because I'm at a standstill with using an Apple product because I can't use Apple services because Apple hates me.
Yeah.
Apple is barring me from using their services because I have reasons.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, not that I mean, Apple's, I would say, probably the worst about having like a walled ecosystem, but other companies still do it. Like Galaxy Watch, there are exclusive
Yeah.
features that you're only going to be able to use on a Samsung phone, but at
Yeah.
least you can use it with other phones, I think.
I think you can. But like I
An
think the
Apple
reason
Watch is just worthless without an iPhone, ain't it?
yeah, I could you straight up cannot pair it to an Android device. I tried.
Yeah,
You can't do it.
that's brain dead stupid.
The first thing that happens, you boot up the Apple Watch and it says, "Okay, bring it close to an iPhone." And you go, I don't have an iPhone." And it's just like, "Bring it close to an iPhone or die." I guess I don't know.
Yeah, that's Apple's thing. If you buy their shit, they say go fuck yourself for not buying more of our shit.
Yeah, and like yeah, you're right. Samsung does do that, but I think they only do that because they've seen the success that Apple's had. It's like they're following suit.
Every company copies Apple. Yeah, 100%.
And it sucks because Apple's kind of at least known by
Don't copy
us.
Apple, please.
Yeah, at
Don't
least
copy Apple with removing the headphone jack. And don't copy Apple with for the well, I don't know. That's the only thing that comes top of mind, but walled ecosystem, I guess.
Yeah,
Every company's doing it now with like I think Pixel's got their Pixel Watch and Buds.
yeah,
And yeah, none of it quite to the extent of Apple though, with Macs and Apple TV and of course the watch, the buds and the phone and tablets. They've got a lot more.
I mean,
Lot
just
more products.
seeing the the roadblocks that I'm running into just trying to set this up is ridiculous. I mean, you go through these forums and everything like these Apple official support forums, and it's like connect the device to a Mac OS system, or you can try putting it up to a Windows computer, maybe, kind of, and then you try.
It's
it and
insane
it doesn't
that you
work.
can't just plug in an iPhone to a computer and access files to me. That's obscenely stupid. With an Android, you can just plug it in and pull files.
Yeah, it literally pops up in your file explorer, and you just drag and drop files. It's
Yes.
incredibly handy. It's incredibly handy.
It's unbelievable to me that Apple does not allow that to happen. I think you might be able to on a Mac.
Well, they want.
Maybe.
I mean, you could probably do it on a Mac, and otherwise, they probably want you to share files and things through like iCloud or something, like
Or
syncing-
AirDrop.
AirDrop, yeah. But you can't AirDrop to a PC, can you?
No. AirDropping is an Apple thing.
That's kind of what I
It's
figured.
pretty cool, but it's only an Apple thing. I don't know. Some people are happy with I say some, but the majority of the United States is happy with their Apple products.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because they don't know better. There are people that have used Androids and just straight up preferred iPhones, and that's fine. I don't actually have a problem with iPhones. In fact, recent ones have been getting better with like they've added more customization to iOS as time goes on. Like a couple years ago, they added lock screen customization, and I think they're finally allowing a little bit of home screen customization and side loading apps, like third-party app support, finally. So like honestly, iPhones are getting better. They're
And that's
getting
a good
better.
change. And that's a good change.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
still
mean,
can't stand the notch, which isn't even a notch anymore. It's just a bubble. I still think that is the ugliest freaking thing. But honestly, I'd probably get over that pretty quick if I had one.
If I didn't know like what Androids look like and how it's so small, the cutout's so small that it's very easy to kind of miss. If I didn't know that, I think
Or if it's
I would.
in the case of the Fold, it's just straight up under the screen.
It's straight up under the screen. But like if I didn't know that existed, I would think that Apple's way is really cool because it has like UI integration to the pill cutout.
I think they've done a bubble in the middle of on the top of your screen the best way you can do a bubble on the top of your screen. But I don't think it's better than just having a tiny hole punch cut out for your camera.
Yeah. Why take up screen real estate when I could just, just use an application better.
I hate that there's no fingerprint sensors. I actually despise that. I always
forgot
have
about
used
that
the fingerprint sensor.
till just now. I forgot that iPhones didn't have like in-screen fingerprint readers or even on the side or anything.
Granted, when I had an iPhone, it was easier to live without because of how crazily good Face ID is. Like crazily good. Face ID is really, really, really good, but I still prefer a fingerprint sensor 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. I find myself not using the Face ID baked into like Android very much at all.
My Pixel sometimes just unlocks itself before I even get to the fingerprint sensor because it sees my face. But it's nowhere as fast or as consistent as Apple's Face ID was, or work in the dark.
Yeah, no, that I kind of use it the same way. The only reason I have the face recognition on my Android is because every now and then it gets me in just that 1 millisecond faster. Because sometimes, so it's like, I don't know, it's just like I might as well have it on, so it just boops my face in sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's handy.
Yeah, I would rather have a fingerprint sensor and a okay Face ID than just one insanely good Face ID. But
which you just described the difference between Apple and Android.
Yes, that was on purpose.
Oh yeah, nice. Just in that Apple's is insanely good and Android's is honestly it's kind of meh. It's like okay,
it's fine.
It's serviceable as a face recognition software, but I've noticed that there's a lot of things that jank it up.
Now, I have an old phone on the top of my dresser back there. It's a Redmi Note 8 Pro. It's a Xiaomi, and it's a Redmi, but Redmi is a subsidiary of Xiaomi. So, and that phone had the fastest, widest field of view Face ID I've ever seen on a phone. But here's the thing. I'm not kidding you. It was faster and caught me more often than Apple's Face ID. But here's the reason. If I register my face in that thing and then point the front-facing camera at like a sheet of paper with a picture of me like 30 feet away, it will still unlock. It was insane, but it's also grossly unsecure because that's a sheet of paper of me would work. So somebody could literally just pull up a picture of me on their phone and put it in front of my phone, and next thing you know, they have my phone unlocked. So like, it was so bad and unsecure, but hey, was it fast? And like sometimes I'd pull it out of my pocket, and I haven't even like flipped the phone up like so that I could see the screen yet. It was still just like pointing at my chest or to the left, however I pull out my phone out of my pocket, and it was already like in the home screen unlocked because it just in somewhere of the confusion of me pulling it out of my pocket, it saw my face before my eyes saw the screen. So yeah, that phone is crazy. It also has a fingerprint sensor on the back of the phone, a physical fingerprint sensor, not an in-screen one. That one also was the fastest fingerprint sensor I've ever seen. Literally just graze your finger on like one slight edge of it and it would still unlock. That one actually was secure, unlike the face unlock.
Well, there you have it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, just to kind of wrap it back up, that's been the going issue with my Apple experience as of late, because I had an Apple device, an Apple phone for decades.
Most of your phone using,
days. And it took 2 years ish, maybe a little over year and a half, 2 years or whatever. I've had this phone. When did this come out?
It hasn't been 2 years.
Did it come out in 2022 or 2023? 2023, didn't it? Was it the S23 Ultra? So yeah, it came out in 2023. So year and some change.
Change.
It's taken that long for me to kind of just decide I don't like the way Apple devices are. So I'll say they're bad, because they're not. It's just not really my thing.
I can tell you I wouldn't pay $800 for one that has a 60 hertz display.
That's actually wild. What did I tell you that one time that Marquez Brownlee said on the MKBHD podcast that they said that the timeline was? Is it next year they're both going to 120?
I don't know.
I remember hearing 2025 they're both going to 120.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe that? That'd be
No.
nice. That'd be nice.
They literally call it their Pro Motion display. I don't ever think they're going to put something with Pro in the name on a non-Pro phone. I just don't see them doing that.
Unless they bump the how fast promotion is, which there's not really much need to. But
Yeah, on a phone, 120 is
well,
fine.
freaking I had there for a while. I had that Motorola Edge.
That a
you recall.
144.
Had a 144, and it was like a $500 phone.
Well, it's because high refresh rate screens are not expensive.
Right.
They're not that much money. Apple just doesn't put it on their non-Pro phones because people buy it anyway.
Honestly, I would recommend that phone to a lot of people. It's very much not a powerful phone. It's does not have like a powerful chipset or anything in it. But as far as like features go, and
What are you talking about?
the Moto Edge,
Well, okay. I just transitioned off of a non-Pro iPhone, and then you went from that to saying it's not powerful.
yeah, because I just brought it up. I was still thinking about what I said.
Yeah.
I don't care what you
Go
got.
on.
Anyway, I would recommend that to a lot of people. It's not very powerful. I tried like emulating and gaming and stuff on it. It heats up and kind of slows down. But like if you just wanted a phone for like general productivity, general phone usage, surfing the web, whatever, and you wanted it to feel fast and the screen to look pretty dang good, that I think it was a 2022 Moto Edge. That thing was kind of solid.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a new Edge now, probably. I wouldn't be surprised. Also, what?
I was gonna say one of them I read was having like a 160 something hertz display.
Yeah, I guess I just don't really see the purpose of pushing more than 120. It just takes battery life more.
I
And
agree.
Unless you're actually playing like on a gaming phone, sure. Like an ROG phone, those are insane phones.
Yeah,
But like, I don't really get the point of more than 120.
I would agree, but it's a cool spec to have. I would say it's one
Yeah.
of those things that doesn't really change your day-to-day operation very much, but it's just cool to know that your phone can do it.
Yeah, like saying your phone is a 108 megapixel camera.
Yeah, or saying it is 200 for that fact.
Or 200, right. It's higher now. I'm 108. Get that out of here. I'm in the old days. We
Yeah,
got
you're
200 now.
freaking
Yeah,
old
like
man.
megapixel count is kind of a meaningless number in camera quality anymore. Because
It sounds cool.
iPhones had 12 megapixel shooters for up until the 14 Pros or 13 Pros.
One of those two sounds right.
One of them, and it was only near the last two generations of having a 12 megapixel camera starting to see that they're noticeably less sharper images than other phones. Now they have a 50 megapixel camera, which is as a number isn't near as high as a lot of Android phones, but I mean 15 Pro camera quality is up there with all the other flagship phones nowadays, the Pixel and Samsung. Speaking of Pixel cameras, on Mark Brownlee,
Mark ass.
I'm pretty sure he did like a blind poll on Twitter or something where he showed two images and people clicked on which image looked better, and like the Pixel 7a came out on top or something.
Well, the Pixel, it probably happened again for the 7a, but that same thing happened for the Pixel 6a before it.
Which that's crazy.
Yeah,
That just goes to show you that you don't. It just goes to show that camera quality anymore in a phone basically is just in the software.
Yeah.
Like, unless we start getting literally bigger sensor sizes in the phones, then pretty much just software is where the quality's coming anymore.
I will say this: speaking of phones and Android phones, the place I work is like dominated by Android phones. So I just went.
Really?
I just went back to my old job, and like everybody there has an Android. I had okay. I just now remember this. I just had an interesting conversation with one of the new hires, because so like in the time that I was gone at FedEx, my previous employer that I went back to like did basically a whole refresh of staff. So like most people are new, like brand new, and this dude, kind of an odd guy, he was like asking me questions about my hobbies and stuff, and I was just like, oh, video games are fun, that's what I've been doing lately, but frisbee's also like frisbee stuff, and he was talking about how he's a gamer, and he said specifically he's a street fight gamer. What's that game?
Street Fighter gamer?
Yeah, that's what he plays. That's his game.
On the phone.
On the no, this is a separate topic. I was gonna bring up something else, but I kind of derailed myself a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah, he
plays Street Fighter.
He plays Street Fighter, and he was telling me like, because I got on the subject of keyboards as well, and he was asking me like, oh, what switch type you use, and I was like, oh, linears, yeah, and he said he puts for all the different buttons that he pushes for Street Fighter, he has different switches for different feels for different buttons.
What? He has his keyboard build tailored to one game?
That's what he told me. And I was like,
holy cow.
I was like, that's an option for sure. And he was asking me like, what do I use and what do I use for all these other buttons for gaming and everything. I was like, I got a couple clickies in a couple spots, but everything's same switch. He's like, yeah, like I like having some of them are different like weights. Some of them are, different. Like, so I think he had some linears and some tactiles and some heavier tactiles.
What?
Like, I don't like, dude.
How does he type?
Maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
That's insane. That's just get a controller. Crap.
Well, that's what I thought too. I said that too. I was like, he was like, yeah, I do all this, and I put all these different switches in there, and I was like, yeah, that's one way to do it. When I do 2D fighter games, I generally use a controller, and he was just like, yeah. but I didn't like that. It's like, okay. To each their own. But it was so surprising to me. But yeah, that entire place is an Android house, which I always thought was funny. Because it was that way even before I left for the first time. Because you never see that. You always see like iPhone users, everywhere. Which is great because then you always have to deal with the group chat nightmares that people talk about.
You say that. First, that hasn't been a thing for a little while now. But
there's still, I don't know exactly what I've noticed. They didn't they just switch who the problems dealt with now? Like Google or like Android.
What Google did is they implemented into Android the ability to see iPhone's reactions and the ability to be integrated into their group chats. So if you send a text, it doesn't just send a text to everybody in the group individually. So Android fixed it on their side.
Yeah, I remember hearing something that it like broke. It broke Apple's side, but maybe they came out with a patch for it. I don't know.
I think if you send a reaction from an Android to an iPhone, I think it still does it just sends it as a separate text saying this user reacted with whatever. I think, but. On iOS, what's the new one in beta right now? 18?
Frick, probably 18 if I had to guess.
I think Apple, like I said, Apple's making some good changes, mainly because the European Union is
it's literally
coming down on them. Yeah, forcing them to. But hey, all the better. That's making their products better. They're implementing RCS in iMessage on iOS 18.
I forgot about that.
iOS 18 beta has RCS. So once that rolls out to everybody, the texting issues will be gone, which is going to be great.
Hot diggity damn. But they're not getting rid of the blue and green bubbles.
No. If you're not on iMessage, you will still be a green bubble.
Yeah, which there's really no point for that. I mean, it's especially if they have RCS enabled after the
I
fact.
mean, there's still iMessage features that you can't use, like iMessage games, I guess. And what else does iMessage do?
But I mean, let's be honest though. The only reason they keep that around, the color difference is so that
so they can keep the hive mind going.
yeah, no, that's kind of where I was going with it. It's not actually necessary to have color coded differences.
No,
like that.
No. They are doing it just so that they can keep iPhone users knowing they're texting an Android user and to feel disgust from it.
and to only feel grossness.
Did you know, like on Tinder, it is a actual statistical difference between iPhone and Android users?
I've heard of that, definitely.
Yeah, like dudes on, I don't even know. I don't even think it's gender specific. Android users, once they are discovered that they're an Android user via Green Bubble, they straight up get less matches. But I don't know how they did that study, because how would they know that they're an Android user via Green Bubble if they didn't match and then exchange numbers anyway?
I don't know.
I don't know how that study was conducted. I have heard that before, though.
I mean,
but now I'm kind of sus of it.
You just talk to women, and they'll tell you that they despise, well, women with iPhones, that they despise anybody with an Android. I.e. my sister is like that.
I was just about to say, I've never heard anybody. I've never actually talked to somebody like that. That's a lie. I've had coworkers that have
you've absolutely
an ick for Android users. That's a lie. Yeah,
I was about to say you've absolutely. I think everybody with an Android phone has experienced that.
There was quite a few people at Dick's that were like that.
Dick's. Yeah, no, I don't know if I told the story on the podcast, but when I first got my first Android phone, and I went to the first family gathering,
not even 2 years ago.
Yeah, not even. Yeah, when I got the phone, I went to the first like family gathering. I had my phone, and I just set it down on the table, like face down, so you could just happen to like see the camera cluster and all that. It's very apparent that it's an Android phone or a Samsung specifically. And my sister from across the table goes, I swear to God, this is what she said. She said, "Ugh, you put it on the table."
What?
That's what she said. You put it on the table. As if it's like a dirty pair of boots or something that I put on the dining room table. No, you put it on the table. That's disgusting.
That is crazy, dude.
Yeah, and then so I said, like, what's the problem with that? It's just a phone, and a really good one at that. And she's just like, it's gross. And I was like, well, why? Gross. And I expound. Why? Explain yourself here. Let's not just be saying things just to say things here. Why? and she says, and this is her justification. And this really, and I think really sums up why Apple users don't like Androids. And this encapsulates it in one sentence. She said, it just doesn't pass the vibe check.
Yeah. Yep. That is probably the biggest explanation as to why uneducated iPhone users can't, or that's the biggest reason uneducated iPhone users have to not liking Android. Doesn't pass the vibe check.
And I'll be the first to say, like, I'll talk shit about Apple all day long and have done for this entire podcast. But I will say, if you like Apple, go use your Apple device, and that's totally fine.
I was just saying earlier, there are people that have actually tried Android, like Jason, for one of them. Like, Jason, they've tried Android, and they gave it a shot, and they just like Apple better. Whatever. That's fine. Not for me. I'm not interested in the walled garden. But, like, also, my roommate, she has an iPhone. She's tried Android before. Same scenario. Just they stick with what they're used to and it completes their needs and they're happy with it. So be it. Fine. No problem with that. Just not for me. And also their marketing and business practices are not something I would like to support.
I think you see a lot of people, and you see a lot of people who don't care about being power users. They just want a phone that works.
Yeah, they just want a phone.
They want a phone that's gonna work every time, and it doesn't have all the quote unquote bells and whistles. It's got its own bells and whistles, but it doesn't have like the complete computer-like functionality of an Android system, and they just want something entirely different than that.
It has all the functionality of an Android phone. It just doesn't have the customizability of doing it that an Android has. It can do as far as doing tasks or doing a thing, it has everything, all the functionality an Android has.
I think I'm more meaning like, I don't know. The thing that comes to mind is like emulating is something that comes to mind.
And also app side loading, which wasn't a thing until iOS 18 because of the European Union.
That's the other thing that comes to mind is, just downloading like applications directly off the internet, which is now going to be a thing. But yeah, I mean, if you use an iPhone, that's fine. I've discovered it's not for me, but I just can't stand the like the racism. It's racist is what it is.
Whoa.
No, it was what it is.
What?
These people are racist against Androids. I swear to God. I was trying to think of another word for that.
Well, it is unjustified hatred. That could
of a particular group and an overgeneralization of the users. Yeah,
it's not a race.
It's not a race, but
so it's not racist, but it's the same concept.
It encapsulates it pretty well, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, it's also just more of a what's the word I'm looking for here?
I don't know.
I guess a commitment. I guess some sort of like more of a research or overwhelm commitment that you have to take on to go into Android, because iPhone you get like a couple options. With Android you get way more than a couple options, which I like because you can, if you want an Android phone that does what you want it to do, there's probably one for you in your price range.
But like, that's even the thing,
don't
though.
Get that flexibility.
Is like, if you get a Samsung, let's say, it boots up with One UI, and while I don't like a lot of the Samsung bloatware, it's got baked in already the internet app. It's got Samsung's proprietary, the cloud service. It's got whatever. It's got all the things you could want. It's got its version of it. So like, even if you're a basic person with basic needs in a phone and you boot up a Samsung, it's right out of the gate. I
wouldn't group somebody that needs basic needs in a phone as a basic person.
It's a person that uses a phone basically. They are basic. I don't know.
That is not. No, that doesn't mean that at all.
I'm not saying that negatively. It's basic. That's all it is.
Yeah, but you just said that that means that they are a basic person.
I more mean a person that has basic needs is you doing things basically is all I meant. Oh. I don't know why, side conversation. Why are you so argumentative today? Like, oh my God.
I'm not.
Yeah, like every step of the way I've said something. You're just like, well, I wouldn't say that.
Well, so, you're saying stupid shit.
Am I though?
If you're a basic person and just need basic needs in a phone, or you can just be fucking needing a basic phone. You could be Einstein and need a basic phone. What?
I mean, there was more. It was more of an or like an and or situation where it was like you're a basic person or you want a basic phone. Is more what I meant with that.
Well, that's not how you said it.
Well, either way, I don't think it's a goddamn crime to say it the way I said it. It's I didn't make any gross generalizations. I had no hatred in my heart when I said it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'm sure everybody listening would identify the lack of hatred in your heart.
Well, who gives a fuck what they think? It's fine.
Fuck them.
I didn't say anything mean about anybody.
I don't know. I think saying somebody that just needs basic functionality in a phone, saying they're a basic person is kind of mean.
I think you and I are just looking at that context differently. They want things basic. That's fine.
Yeah, that doesn't mean they're a basic person.
It means they want things basically.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean they're a basic person. How are you not getting what I'm saying here?
Well, how are you not getting what I'm saying? I don't think that it's a negative connotation. Or if it is,
by calling someone basic?
I just more meant wanting basic needs. That's all.
I know what you meant. That's not what you said. You're arguing what you said with what you meant. They're not. I'm saying what you said. What you said. I know what you meant. You didn't call everyone basic. You didn't mean to say that. But what you said, which you're for some reason denying, what you said was, if you need basic functionality in a phone, you're a basic person.
No, what I said was, if you're a basic person and want a basic phone.
Yeah, that's okay.
And
rephrase it. Sure.
That's what I said. What are you talking about? That's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's calling everyone, if you need basic functionality in a phone, if you're a basic person and need basic functionality in a phone, is that not saying you're a basic person?
I think I said and want a basic functionality in a phone. And that was more meaning, if you are a basic person that wants basic things.
Yes. Or I know what you meant.
Then what is the goddamn argument? You're being so fucking
You're
stupid.
arguing what you said. I'm saying you said something that is saying something different than what you meant. And you're denying that ever happened. Did you say something that you meant or no? Yes or no?
I don't even understand that question. Did I say something that I meant? What does that mean?
What you're describing you meant is not what you said. Is what I'm getting at. And you are denying that.
I'm saying that the way you interpreted what I said was not the way I attempted to say things. Or felt like
you attempted to say it differently and meant something different. But that's not what you said, Fisher. How are you not getting this?
I understand. I understand what you are saying to me right now. What I'm telling you is that it is a non-issue, and I disagree with the way you took it. That's what I've been saying the entire time.
Okay, well, the no one that is going to listen to this isn't going to just know that.
And I hope to God they don't, because they're going to hear you goddamn make a goddamn fool of yourself, getting mad about nothing that didn't happen. Okay. Oh, out here, literally raising your pitchforks over a turn of phrase that was directed negatively at no person, and even
that's not true. That is not true at all.
So what? You know, the way I said it and meant it was somebody that is basic or wants a basic phone. That's the way I phrased that.
You definitely. You didn't say or. You intertwined the two.
Okay, so I maybe said and. That can still, you know how you like to get down into the nitty gritty of words here, and so it's my turn to do it. And putting the word and right there doesn't actually necessitate that those two ideas are combined.
But it does imply it.
Not necessarily if you're somebody that speaks the English language. It does not necessarily. Now I will say that or is a more cut off version. It more segregates the ideas than and, but you can still present two separate thoughts with and. This
Okay,
and
so
that.
If and isn't necessarily implying one leads to the other or entangling the two, and I say, yeah, you're a paraplegic and need crutches, I'm not implying that those two are entangled, those two statements?
What did I just tell you just a second ago? I understand that or is a more segregatory statement, and is a little bit more inclusive of the two. I'm not arguing that. I'm arguing that I very clearly, I think it's a Venn diagram. You can be a basic person. You could want a basic phone, and you could or you could be a basic person that wants a basic phone. Fair enough.
Yeah, we're not arguing the dynamics of that.
You're arguing something else that I'm arguing, clearly, because that's all I ever said.
The way you said it.
I just told you exactly how I said it. That's how I said it.
Which was implying that if you need a basic phone, you're basic.
So basically what you're mad at me about right now is because instead of saying, it's because I said and not or, what I should have said is and/or. That would have solved the entire problem right there.
What would have solved the entire problem is you not calling out most of the phone users' population as basic.
But I didn't.
You did. You getting into the nitty-gritty of saying just because technically it doesn't necessarily integrate the two, it was directly implied. I guess if you get into the nitty-gritty of the English language, and doesn't implicitly entangle the before and after phrase, sure.
Right. And if you look at the context of the entire conversation, what have I said so many times? That if people want, iPhones, and that's great, and I had an iPhone for a long time, and I honestly really enjoyed it when I had it. I've been saying that this entire goddamn time. What do you think? You think I'm just going to shit all over myself the way I was for a couple of decades?
Yeah. What? We would, either one of us would do that at the drop of a pin.
I would say that I used an iPhone for decades. Granted, a lot of the times because that's what my family had, but I made the most of it, and I goddamn used programs the way I wanted to, and I was very happy with it for a long time. It wasn't until I decided to branch out that I changed my mind on it. But I don't think I was stupid or a basic person necessarily, because once I started getting into like more ways of customization, in which with iPhones, you kind of got to get hacky around some of them. You kind of, tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff.
Jailbreak.
It's not, but yeah, I definitely did that. And my own experience, therefore, shows that why would I think that you have to be a basic person to use an iPhone? Maybe my words implied that, in which case,
yes.
I'm sorry for my actual sin. I will go to the Catholic Church and goddamn get on my hands and knees and light a candle. That's fine.
Good.
I'll do that for you if it means that much to you that I don't offend the Apple community, because of which you are such a fan yourself.
Sure.
But I was in no way trying to fucking demean the entire goddamn community just because.
Yes,
and the fact
I know.
and the fact that you pursue and the fact that you continued to pursue as much as you did is, I think, is kind of stupid.
Well, I continued to pursue because you continued to deny that you called everybody out.
What did I continue to say? I continued to say that was not what I said. What I meant by that is that it was not the intention of my words.
But it is what you said, is what I was getting at, which you continued to completely ignore.
And then what did I say after that? I said, this is fucking stupid.
Let's just recap our argument. Why we're fucking let's just start over again. Why don't we?
What I goddamn did was I said a thing, and then you challenged it, and then I clarified what I meant by it, and then you said no, but you said this. You said, and I said, well, and my thought is, well, what the fuck does it mean what I said if I just right after verbally clarified what I meant? What does it matter to go back? This is what I meant. But okay, let's go back. And then I said, okay, this is what I said. And
this is what happened.
And this, yes. What do you mean that's not what happened?
That is not what happened.
I said a thing. You just said that, and I said, no, I didn't. And you said, yes, you did. And then I said, okay, well, this is what I meant. And then you said, but you still said it. And then I said, okay, well, this is why what I just said doesn't actually necessarily imply that. But either way, that's just not what I meant. And then you said, but you said it. And I said, that's a stupid argument to have. Why are we talking about this? I already clarified myself.
That is not at all how
that is
went
literally
down.
what just happened. That was the rigmarole we just went through just now.
There was the complete denial that you...
No, shut the fuck up. Because you were hung up. Yeah, you've goddamn annoyed me now. Because you were hung up on the fact of the physical words when I said, "Oh no, that's not what I meant to say." No, that's not. Or maybe I phrased it wrong. That's not that. Maybe I said that's not what I said. But what I was saying was, at the very least, that's not what I was trying to imply. That's not what I was intending to say.
You didn't get to that for a fucking while.
Well, yeah, because it's a stupid argument to have. If I say, well, that's not what I meant, let's move on, and you go,
okay. If I say that, no. If I go out and say something stupid, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go and jump off a bridge right now. And then you say, did you mean to just say that? And I say, oh, actually, no, what I meant to say was I'm going to go donate to charity. That's what I actually meant.
What that actually is right now. And I'm going to let you know I'm going to let you know what that is right now. Before you go any further, what I'm going to let you know what that is right now is right here. What it's going to happen at this juncture, what I tell you, that was stupid. It was stupid and it was a waste of breath. What you just said is a waste of breath, and you should be apologizing to the trees that you had to goddamn take their oxygen that they put out. And
for me to have solved that problem would be say, oops, that's not what I meant to imply. What I meant was this. But what you did was, well, that's not what I said. But because it is. That's how that went down. And that's why it took so long.
And you know what? Do you know what? Let me ask you this. Do you know what? Let me tell you what. I don't even want to know if you know what, because I'm about to tell you anyway. It's a moot point at this point. You know what? If somebody uses basic things, you know what? In that category, they are more basic. And I have no negativity when I say that.
But saying someone is basic in a category is not the same thing as saying somebody is basic.
You've never done. You're speaking way too much right now. You got to stop it. So you've never ever accidentally overgeneralized something when you had no intention of it.
I have, but then I realized it after the fact and corrected it. I didn't deny that I said it.
All right, because in my head, I didn't do that. In my head, those were separate ideas. That's why it didn't come out that way. In my head, those were separate, exclusive ideas. It didn't come out that way, but in the moment when you challenged me, I was thinking, well, that's not what I said, because I said these two separate things. You are basic, or you want a basic phone. And that's not what I said. Sure, fine. Well, if you want to really get into the semantics of it, sure, that's not what I said.
Yes, words matter.
Yeah, but you know what matters even more than words, I would say? Intent.
It depends on the context.
You don't think so. You don't think... I do agree that words are important. I'm not saying... Just because I say intent is maybe more important does not make words unimportant. But what it means is that if I make a mistake in my speech... What I was trying to say, especially once clarified, is much more important than the word that was said originally. Unless the word is, you say something absolutely asinine or absolutely terrible, which I don't think, even what you misunderstood me, I don't think is a terrible thing to say. Overgeneralized, sure, but not terrible.
Yeah,
exactly. So in that case, intent is far more important. And once clarified, it's your responsibility as a goddamn person in society to goddamn move on.
Okay. Yes, I agree with all of this. If you didn't start with denying, you said what you said.
And the reason I denied it was because in my mind they were mutually exclusive ideas.
Okay, great. We can agree that this wouldn't have happened if you didn't deny what you said at all. Then.
Sure, but I also think it's really silly of you to pursue as hard as you did.
I wouldn't have if you didn't pretend you didn't say what you did.
Well, I think it's silly that you pursued in the first place.
Well, I would hate for a mistake of a podcast that reaches 0 people to misunderstand that you're calling everyone basic.
And so what if I did? It's funny to insult people. Fuck it. Fucking I'll insult them. And then they'll go in the comments and they'll write comments and that boosts our goddamn fucking engagement up. And then I can, I can click.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's just shit on everybody that listens or watches this.
But I didn't shit on anybody, did I? Especially once I goddamn clarified myself.
But we should start, is what the moral of the story is.
Yeah, start shitting on people, yeah, because that's what I was gonna say. Because you're over here trying to goddamn defend the Apple community with your shield and your sword.
It had nothing to do with Apple.
Shut your mouth.
It had nothing to do with Apple.
You are the knight in shining armor of the Apple community. I know it.
Nothing to do with Apple.
You know it. I know it. And you wanted to defend them, and I said it was a little bit silly, and you fucking continued on anyway because you are a fanboy, and I understand that. But now we find ourselves in this situation where we would talk about this for like 20 minutes, and it's helping nobody because since, albeit maybe a little late because I thought I had clearly separated those ideas, but since minute 5 of 20, that's been from the get-go. And you're over here trying to goddamn start World War III over something that shouldn't even have the problem in the first place.
You're right. You should have just fucking said it right first, or just clarified and
what?
Said
Moved
oops.
on? How could the fuck could I move on if you're pursuing me like a goddamn hawk?
By saying oops, I didn't mean to say that.
I did say that. I said
Yeah,
I did not
35 minutes into the argument.
Maybe 5 because it hasn't even been 35. Now you're just making up numbers.
At 5, we were already so deep. Our dicks were so far up each other's assholes.
I wasn't deep.
Too far to go back.
I wasn't deep. You'll watch my face cam. I was rolling my eyes at you. I was ready to move on. You're the one pursuing like you ain't got nothing to do. All you got to do today is sit around and goddamn look at a screen yelling at nothing. That's what you do.
What? You didn't even work today. So you've been sitting in front of a screen playing goddamn The Descendant shitty game.
Yeah, I played it for 5 minutes and I thought it was stupid. And but we don't have time to talk about that because you took up all the time wasting it to talk about nothing. What do you say to that? What says you?
It wouldn't happen if you would have just spoke right from the fucking get-go.
Well, now you're just circular arguing. You know what that is a sign of? That you've lost. Congratulations, you've lost.
No. You're wrong.
Yeah, objectively, right? Tell me.
You're objectively false.
Jesus.
God damn it.
Your argumentativeness, this is the problem, right? You've been doing, and I said this, you've been doing this all
is not being argumentative. It's not being argumentative.
How is that?
It's wanting you to not call out everybody as basic.
And I'm telling you that wasn't my intention, and I even backed it up with evidence.
That was never the argument.
Then what's the argument if it was never my intention?
What? Are we to this point and you still don't know what we were arguing about?
What you're arguing about is the physical words that came out of my mouth, which I have since apologized for and amended.
Correct.
And what's your fucking problem?
Right
Correct. Now? Yeah, all the times. Every time. Or is it different now? If you pick something else to be mad about.
I can't think of anything.
Yeah, you can't think of anything to be mad about because it's been solved for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
A mistake in linguistics was made. Right? You said clearly that's not what you meant, and I said no, it wasn't.
But we're okay. It is exhausted.
You don't even know what to say right now. You told me that one time when we were arguing. You don't know what to say.
I'm trying to think of the most conclusive word that I can think of for done. And I tried really hard to think of it, and exhausted came out. Maybe because it's projection.
How does it feel? How does it feel to be on the other side of an argument? You goddamn steamroll
What do you
me
mean
sometimes.
the other side?
Because you have this tendency. No, this is an intervention. Sit down, your family's here. We're going to have a conversation. You have a tendency in an argument to try to steamroll somebody with just your opinion. Just steamroll them. And now I'm doing that. Fuck you. You will hear my opinion, and now you don't know what to say.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
You did arguments. Objective. That's what you say.
I only use that term when it's correct.
Yeah, because you think you're correct every time, you piece of shit. God damn it.
I don't say it when I'm talking about something subjective like an opinion.
Either way, I hope you're enjoying being wrong.
Except you're the one who already admitted that you were wrong and apologized and clarified.
Because I'm an adult.
Exactly.
And adults admit when they're wrong.
After a while, but yeah.
After I understood what you were goddamn mad about, because like I said, I was, in my head, those were pretty, well, they're mutually exclusive, but at the same time, they could be included together depending on the context. But the way I meant it was, like I said, a Venn diagram. You could be basic, you can be a basic phone user, or you could be a mixture of the two. That's how I meant that. That was the and. The and implied that in my head. And what I apologized for once I understood was that maybe my phrasing wasn't clear enough, because I'm an adult. And adults do things like that. They apologize when they know they've made a linguistic error, or unintentionally overgeneralized. And that's what I did, because I'm an adult. What did you do? Huh?
Get you to do it?
I'd argue about nothing for too long. That's what you did.
Well, I
Yeah, what are you saying now? Translate that into something actionable.
The shit's already been exhausted, and you're keeping it going on longer.
What was happening before that? You were keeping it on, didn't you? Once
the ball's
done.
in your court now, ain't it?
And my balls say it's stopping. That's what's happening. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been an absolute clusterfuck of an episode. It really was. It was something to behold up until this point, and now it's a clusterfuck. Write in the comments below. What do you think about landlords? What do you think about Apple? And what do you think about this idiot? What are those?
Fuck
what are those?
you. You're fucking stupid.
What are those things you think
if you're
about?
gonna put something in the comments, tell us what you think about this fucking idiot. Now,
Yeah. Boost our engagement. Tell us, write 2 separate comments about both of us.
Write 2 comments per person thinking about, and make them both what you think about this fucking idiot.
You might as well. All right, everybody. We'll catch you next week. Peace out.